This week's focus was on educational technology and digital tools. Started off by going over the ISTE standards, and I went to the Teachers tab right away to see what teachers need to do to get technology into the classroom effectively. The first standard for teachers was to facilitate and inspire student learning and creativity. With more and more technology being invented and enhanced over these next few years, creativity is going to be huge in our classrooms. We want students to look at technology more than just a projector. We don't want them to read off the screen so they don't have to turn pages in a book. The second standard, design and develop digital age learning experiences and assessments. One example I have is I was a student teacher in St. Peter 2 semesters ago, and there's this cool app where students were basically on a social media site for learning. And what they had to do was they had to do a math problem on video and post it to their class news feed, like on Facebook. Their other classmates could look at their video, give them feedback in a comment section, and then they could comment back to their peers that were giving them feedback. This is a cool learning experience. They're going to be engaged because they love social media, and you're going to be able to look at all their feedback and videos so you can use it as an assessment too. So it's just a really cool way to do all that. The third standard for ISTE for teachers is to module digital age work and learning. They're going to have to use this technology their whole lives, and it's only going to get tougher to use in the future with this new stuff coming out. So as teachers, we have to use what we know now and kind of enhance it to show them what it's going to be like in the future. So we have to get students ready to use technology the rest of their lives. The fourth standard is to promote and model digital citizenship and responsibility. The thing that comes to mind for me here is plagiarism over the internet. It's so easy to copy and paste and claim it as your own work in a paper. We have to show our students that it's not ethical to do that, and it's also illegal. And that is probably the most important thing in college and high school. So we have to get our students ready for that and show them how to be responsible on the computer with this technology. And then the fifth standard is to engage in professional growth and leadership. If there's new technology coming out that you think is great, let your coworkers know. Show them how you use it in your classroom. And then they'll be able to use it in their classroom. If there's something that works, you got to let people know because it could be the difference between one student making it or breaking it, and that means more than anything. So now there's a framework for 21st century learning. With new technology coming in, there will be more things that we can do in the classroom, and students will be engaged because they love looking at screens for some reason, and technology is just awesome. So on the top here we have a rainbow. That's the student outcomes. And underneath we have the shadow of the rainbow, and that is the support systems to help us with the student outcomes. First is the green section. There are subjects for our students to be learning in schools nowadays. These are English, social studies, science, health, math, you name it, everything in there. Now there's business and technology because technology is basically its own subject. There's a lot to it. In the red, life and career skills. Like I said earlier, children are going to be using technology throughout their entire lives. And the sooner we teach it to them, the better it will be because they will have a good base and foundation to learn new things if we start teaching them early. In the yellow, learning and innovation skills. There's critical thinking that we want their students to be doing, communication, collaboration, and creativity. They have to be working together with this technology, and it's going to be easy to communicate over it, but we have to teach them those ethical rules and how to use it responsibly. And then information, media, and technology skills. And like I said, we want to build that base, Show them how to use the technology because they're going to be using it their whole lives, especially in high school and college over these new online courses. Everything's not done in paper and pencil in the classroom anymore. There's a lot done online. And then the supports underneath. Everything that we use with technology has to lead towards the standards and assessments. And what we want to do is use our curriculum and instruction to lead those students to make those standards. Professional development, like I said before, we have to let other teachers know if there's something that works. We have to let them know how to use that technology and how we did it. And then learning environments. We have to make sure students have access to all this technology. We learned about the SAMR model today, and I really like the example of Google Docs and Microsoft Word. It just really helped me visualize what all four of these categories were. So there's substitution. If you're substituting Google Docs for Microsoft Word, all you're doing is using it as a Word doc system or word processing system. You're just typing up words. You're not doing anything else with it on Google Docs. If you're for augmentation, there's a share button. You can type on the same document as your peer at the same time. You can't do that over Microsoft Word, so that's augmentation. So it's a direct tool substitute with functional improvement. You can share directly on there. You don't have to save it and email it as an attachment. And it goes right to the cloud, so you don't have to save it actually at all on Google Docs. And then modification. This one, tech allows for significant task redesign. So if you're working in a group on Google Docs, you can all type at the same time. You can all type your own paragraphs at the same time during the class period. You don't have to type on Microsoft Word, email your section to your classmates, and then they have to put it all together. It's all going to be done right away. And then redefinition, I like this one a lot. This was working with a different school, which is something that was unheard of even 10 years ago. Over Google Docs, it's all online, and you'll be able to work with a different school to come up with a solution to the same problem, or maybe it's a social studies lesson and you're learning about different cultures. So I thought that was really cool. So that's the SAMR model. The bottom two were enhancement and the top two were transformation. The TPACK framework, this one was also pretty cool. So every lesson is going to have content knowledge and pedagogical knowledge. Technological knowledge isn't always going to be used in all of your lessons, but we want to work towards using technology in every single lesson. So content knowledge is what you're going to be teaching. Pedagogical knowledge is how are you going to be teaching it and how are they going to get there. And that would be group work, writing a paper, modeling. So that's pedagogical knowledge. We want pedagogical knowledge and content knowledge are always pretty much going to work together. Now when we add technological knowledge, we want that to work towards our content knowledge. So does it have the content that we need in there? And then we also want it to work with our pedagogical knowledge. Is it going to work for the type of lesson I want to do? Is it going to work with group work? And if all three of those pairings match up, it's going to hit what we call the sweet spot, right in the middle. And that's what we were looking for with this TPACK framework. If technology can work with both content knowledge and pedagogical knowledge, there's only good things that are going to be happening. Using technology for creation versus consumption. This was in the blog post mostly about Natasha's interview with Mitch Resnick. And there was a cool line in there. We need to start looking at computers like finger paint and less like television. So, like I said before, not just using technology as a projector so you don't have to flip pages in a book. We want to use technology so that kids can be creative. We want them to monkey around with it. We want them to find out cool things that they can do with it. And there's this cool picture on the left, and this is um, what the students would be doing if they're using finger paint in a creative mode in kindergarten. So they're going to imagine, what is finger paint? What is that? Then they're going to see it, and then they're going to create something. Then they're going to play around with it after they created it. Then they're going to share it. What did they do? What are they going to tell their classmates they did? Then they'll probably reflect on this mostly on their own. They'll probably think, oh, that was fun, or that was kind of boring. Then the cycle is going to start all over again. We want our students in elementary schools to be doing this with technology. So monkeying around with the different things that we present them with. So now as teachers, we have this thing called the technology integration planning cycle. So every lesson you have is going to have an instructional goal. Where do you want your students to be at the end of the lesson? So after that's figured out, you're going to go to your approach. Well, how am I going to get there? Am I going to have them do group work? Are they going to work with Google Docs, Google Slides? What are they going to do? Tool selection. This is where you select what technological tool you're going to use. If you're using pencil and paper only, like I have over here, or the model has over here, you just stop right here. But if you're going to use technology, you have to complete the cycle. How is that technology going to contribute to the instruction? Well, is it going to make a difference? If it's not going to make a difference, I might as well pick something else, right? Or you go to paper and pencil. Then if it's going to make a difference in your instruction, you go to constraints. Well, is this going to be too difficult for my second graders to use, or is Google Docs something that a kindergartner knows how to use? They don't even really know how to spell. So if there's a major constraint, you're probably going to have to go back to different tool selection. And if there isn't, or if there are major constraints, then you're gonna exit, or you're gonna go try another tool. Then the instruction happens. This is where you use the technology that you chose, and then the reflection. Did the technology that I chose actually do what I wanted it to do? If not, you might have to rethink for your next lesson. There's always going to be reflection after every lesson that you do in teaching. You're going to do it without even thinking about it after a little bit. So that's the end of the Educational Technology and Digital Tools presentation. Thanks for listening.